Writing proportions to solve problems. Solving proportions and using ratios might be one of the most common kinds of math that adults use it all the time. Here I'm making some t-shirts for a Columbia Heights Robotics fundraiser. I had to prepare a screen, and then I pull the ink across that screen onto the t-shirt. Once I've pulled the ink across the screen, I can remove the shirt and the design will be on the shirt. If it took me 5 hours to print 40 shirts, how long would it take me to print 200 shirts? Now there's more than one way to do this, but I'm going to use a proportion. So I'm going to write the first ratio of 5 hours to 40 shirts. And I'm going to set that equal to a second ratio where I don't know the hours, so I put X, and then in the denominator I put 200 shirts. And the important part is that the labels match up. I have shirts in the denominators of both ratios. There's more than one way to solve a proportion. This time I'm going to use the idea of equivalent fractions. And so to change 40 shirts into 200 shirts, I multiply that by 5. And I do the same thing to the numerator. So I would multiply 5 hours times 5 as well to find out that it would take 25 hours to print the 200 shirts. So X is equal to 25. Another way to solve the proportion would be to use cross multiplying, or to find the cross product. So I multiply 40 times X is just 40X, and I set that equal to the product of the other diagonal, because if the two ratios are equal, the cross products have to be equal. And now I have a one-step equation. 40X equals 1,000. I divide both sides by 40, and I get again X is equal to 25 hours. Once you've printed on the t-shirts, the ink is wet, so you need to heat it, and it needs to get up to 350 degrees to permanently set the ink. If we sell the shirts for $5, how many must we sell if we want to have enough money to buy a new Core Power distribution module for $85? Sometimes these problems are easy enough to solve without a proportion, but writing it out as a proportion will keep it really neat and organized, and it will help you not make mistakes. So I'm going to write a ratio of one shirt is $5 and set that equal to X shirts over $85. I feel like solving this one with cross multiplying, so I start with the diagonal of one shirt and $85 and multiply that. 1 times 85 is 85. I'm going to set that equal to the product of the other diagonal. 5 times X is just 5X. So now I have the equation 85 equals 5X. It's a simple one-step equation. I'm going to divide both sides by 5 so that X ends up being 17 shirts. So we'd have to sell 17 shirts to make $85 to pay for the Core Power distribution module. Kelvin needs a score of 84% on his last test to get the grade he wants. The test has 50 questions. How many must he get correct to get at least an 84%? Alright, so the key pieces of information are that the test has 50 questions and he's got to get 84%. 84% is the ratio of 84 correct out of 100. Percent always means out of 100. And we're going to set that equal to the number he wants to get correct out of 50. Now I could use cross multiplying, but I think the easiest way to do this one is to recognize the denominator of 100 can be divided by 2 to become 50. And if I do it to the denominator, I need to be fair and do the same exact thing to the numerator of 84. So I need to divide that by 2. And 84 divided by 2 is 42. So for him to get an 84%, he needs to get 42 right out of 50.